You know, when we lived in Walnut Grove, that was an area where there was a lot of oil wells. That's all down in that area around, I think it's Lincoln Boulevard now, and south of Reno. And the river was called Greasy. And the reason they called it Greasy was because there was always a black film floating on top of that thing. And I had an aunt. She had lived in a little tar paper house not very far from the bank. And she said one night she woke up, she dipped snuff. So she woke up to get her a dip of snuff and reached down, and her hand got wet, and she looked at it, and she had all this black tar on her hand. Her house was floating away, and she was in the bed. And so those are some of the funny things that happened when we grew up down there. But anyway, you couldn't go any place in Oklahoma City without seeing a pumping oil well. There was oil wells everywhere. And it just seems like they went away. And I don't know why I wasn't paying attention, you know, because they certainly didn't all disappear at once. But it seems like you looked up and there were no oil wells. But that story about my aunt and that water was just really, really funny, because we lived in that little house with that lady with the son-in-law, and we weren't 100 feet from the banks of that river, and it was black. It was black with tar. And so everybody that lived in that area called it Greasy.